I find the harder I work, the more luck I seem to have. Thomas Jefferson, my friends, 10 to 15 minutes each and every day. That is all we ask. We've got a great show for you today. We show everything in the market down, stocks resuming their downward tick. I'm recording this just a few minutes before the market closes. Both the S&P and the Nasdaq 100 down more than 2%. Let's see, Bitcoin is down 0.69%. That is on our Bitcoin futures chart. We look at gold, it is almost flat, down 0.01%. It'll probably finish out about flat. 20-year bonds down 0.30%. Let's first start with the S&P 500. I was hoping for more of an up move than just one day to reset our STC so we could find a good time to jump back in. That has not happened. Of course, we're still down on the 2-day, and we are still down on the weekly, and we can see where we have gone a little lower than that week back in June, where it hit the most recent low on the S&P 500. Then, of course, it slid sideways throughout the course of until early July or almost mid-July, and then popped up until mid-August, and then has just been trundling down, gathering energy since then. Let's move to the Nasdaq 100. It was down at one point almost 3%, right now 2.75%. It actually had gone green, but as you can see, it did not clear that inner band, that little darker area with those two bands. We didn't clear all the way up, and it started to move down again. That is not a trigger for us on the STC. Needs to go above that band and reset. So has not done that. Moving back down again. Of course, the 2-day and the weekly are still in confirmed down moves. We're waiting for a reset on the STC on the half-day chart on both the S&P 500 and Nasdaq 100 to give us an opportunity to pull a trigger and enter a trade. What's up with bonds? Well, bonds, it's nice. It is green, and we have some green candles, 2 days, 1.5 days of green candles. Ended the day with a little green candle, but again, down for the day, just barely 0.35% right now. Want to see this reset entirely and move up to, again, give us another short opportunity to jump in. Now, this one we talked about. I would not have taken this one. If I had taken it, it would have knocked me out here. I would not have made it through. I don't even need to really leave this up. The reason I put it up was to show you first you can justify about anything after the fact. It's not anything I would have stayed in. So I tell you what, to stop any kind of confusion, I'm just going to go ahead and remove it. So we're hoping to see things reset when we look overall. The 2-day still down on the STC. The weekly still strongly down on the STC. Again, so much downward movement, so much downward pressure on the market. We're just seeing everything moving down. Gold, as we go to it, sort of flat pretty much for the day. Right now it's showing down 0.02%, but you can see indecision in the morning, green candle in the afternoon, but about where it ended yesterday. It has reset nicely for us, though, moving all the way to the top. So when we have a triggering event, the STC goes from green to red, we're going to be ready to pull the trigger potentially on another down move on gold. Where are we on the 2-day? Well, we do have a green candle there, but the STC is still negative. And on the weekly, of course, we have cleared the 200 EMA and a nice down candle drawing. Remember, we don't have a good inverse fund on gold, so what do we look to? We look to practice trading puts. That's what we can do at GLD. They're fairly liquid, and there's something you can sure look at practice trading. If you know how to trade options, that's great. If not, I might recommend you become a Patreon member. We have a 3-part series, Options Made Simple, the Charting Wealth Way. That is the first thing we send out in our Welcome Aboard package to our Patreon members at any of the 3 levels. Check that out. Of course, we appreciate the Patreons for supporting us here at the channel and all the costs we have with the mailing list, with the texting service, with the webmaster, all those kinds of things. Thank you so much. The things you support tend to stay around. Lastly, We will look at Bitcoin. Where is Bitcoin? I did the first installment yesterday of charting cryptos and commodities. And in fact, we talked about where cryptocurrencies are. We also talked about commodities. And if you're interested in both those, I just got bored of doing cryptos because they've just been hanging around the bottom so long. I wanted you to also have the knowledge of what's going on in the commodity sector because we can track those things too. So I encourage you, that comes out early for the Patreon members on Wednesdays. For some reason, I had trouble emailing the list last night, but as I told you, always the default is everything we do for our Patreon members, we automatically put up at the Patreon channel. You will find that video, Patreon members, available for you there. I'm going to try to send it out to you again today when I send out the 20 weekly vertical crossovers a little later. Those will also be uploaded at the Patreon channel. So if you don't see that email, if it's going to your spam box, you wonder where it is, check the Patreon site under Charting Wealth. Now, let's look at where we are on our last chart for the day, XBTF. That is, of course, the VanEck Bitcoin Strategy short-term future ETF on Bitcoin. You can buy this on regular exchanges. You don't have to go to some crypto exchange that may or may not be having financial issues. You can find this on your favorite, whether it's TD Ameritrade or it's Charles Schwab, whatever it might be, it's there. You can practice trade them there. You can follow them there. So what do we see going on? Well, down for the day, 0.69%. Everything is hanging out right there again along this bottom. I want to see it. I just want to see it set a good foundation and then at some point straighten itself out and move up strongly. Push through the 200 EMA on the half-day chart, consequently move up strongly on the 2-day chart, and then of course move up strongly on the weekly chart. We want to see all those things happen. Again, things have bottomed out right at that 1820 mark or so, and I want to see it just lay a good foundation there and take off at some point, go from red to green, and just start sailing. That hasn't happened yet. Remember, when that does happen, Bitcoin, since it's the tide, I talk about this all the time, give you that analogy, when it flows into the harbor, all those little boats, all those other cryptocurrencies and those crypto-related ETFs that we've covered for you many times, those will all start floating with it. So we'll be waiting, watching, seeing when that does happen. We'll be there with you. You'll be here with us, and we'll be watching it and practice trading it. That's where we are, folks. As we end the day, don't forget at the close of the market tomorrow, since it's Friday, we'll be preparing for you the weekly review and forecast. God bless, my friends. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth World Headquarters.